Well, good morning. It's Friday. I just realized the video I did on Monday I didn't put up. Um, I'm a man. I had a stroke. Just so genetically, there's a birth defect being a man that I'm not really a birth defect. It's my memory shot because I'm a man. And then you throw on that having a stroke. Yeah, okay. I'll give you that much. So I forgot to load Monday's video. Hence the happy belated birthday video is Monday's video. I didn't do one throughout the week. Um, so, what's happened this week? Well, Monday you'll find out about when that video gets loaded up. Tuesday, I don't really remember much about Tuesday. Wednesday, saw my physio. She turned it up to 11. Really grateful she did. It was a good challenge. Yeah, so that's progressing. Yesterday being Thursday, I had a 100% hiatal hernia 3 years ago. Yeah, with a flundification. Say that word 5 times fast. With a stroke and speech issues. Flunda. Yeah, no. Flundification. Nissan flap, in fact. I went and saw my thoracic surgeon, most possibly for the last time. Hopefully. Initially, there were some concerns after the surgery that I might need to be medically supervised for a lengthy period of time afterwards because the repair could migrate, meaning move up or down, or the repair might need to be repaired, or an adjustment, a tweak. Turns out, through all the medical scoping, probing, prodding that I've had done over the past 3 years, yeah, repairs migrated slightly, but that's to be expected. No major issues there. But the repair does not need to be repaired or adjusted. So there's nothing structurally wrong with the repair. There are still a few minor issues that may present. But at that point, I only need him when I need him. Don't need to see him again unless I need to. Now, since my stroke, and the medications they put me on, I have developed heartburn. Even when I had the hiatal hernia, I didn't have heartburn, right? So they gave me some antacid. Last night was the first night in 2 weeks that I slept the entire night. Like, I went to sleep, I fell asleep, I didn't wake up. Now, is it because of the antacid? I can't say that for sure. However, this is the first night that I've not woken up either in the morning or during the night with a wicked case of gut rot. So, I'm going to put that in the win column. I'm actually getting a full night's sleep. Yesterday, because I had to go to another city to see my thoracic surgeon, I decided to go to a mall, because I actually have a real mall, not like the one we have in Aurelia, where there are loads of people. Went and got something to eat, just to see how much I could handle being in crowds and mass input. Yeah, I got a bit overstimulated, had to get home and lie down. And because I'm not allowed to drive, yeah, you're on a bus. Yeah, fun times. So today I see my physiotherapist again, and then we'll make some appointments for the week after that. But all in all, things have been going fairly well. This week, a couple instances of stuttering yesterday, but I'm going to chalk that one up to being a bit frustrated and anxious, a little bit confused because I was in the mall. A little bit of confusion yesterday, again, but that's because I was, trying to test myself. Because the only way I'm going to determine if I'm good in crowds and random noise is to go into crowds and random noise. Yeah, it's unfortunately part of your rehab is testing yourself. At least that's the way I look at it. And having had a conversation with my physiotherapist, and I know I've mentioned it before in a previous video, you've got to own your own rehab, right? And part of that is pushing yourself, and my perception in that is testing yourself. So the only way you're going to find out if you've met a limit or boundary, right, and found an obstacle, is by finding them. You have to go looking for them. Some of them will be easy. Stairs are my enemy right now. I can't do stairs, or you know, whatever the case may be. Right, buttons. I've mastered buttons. Still have the odd problem with buttons, but buttons and I might no longer have to worry about buttons as an issue. Um, but there are still things that might present themselves as an obstacle. But the only way I can find out what my obstacles are is to actively go looking for my obstacles. Right, and then once I found them, it's time to get over them. Right, you're gonna bypass. You're not gonna bypass your obstacle because that's just avoiding it. Right. You're going to breach it. You're going to clear it. You're going to get through it. You're going to get over it. You're going to get under it. You're going to get around it. You're not going to ignore it, right? If you choose to ignore it, you've given up, right? Like, screw it. I don't need buttons. Buttons are a modern invention. I'm going to go Amish, right? What if it's lids, like jars, right? You know, how are you going to open up the peanut butter, the pickles, jam? It's not like these things come in Ziploc bags at the store. So, if it's jars, you're going to have to practice, jars. So, when it comes to your rehab, you've got to own it. And if you're not willing to own your own rehab and work it, right? I go to my appointments and my physiotherapist simply tells me what I'm going to do that day, right? And I see, and she sees, how well I'm going to respond to her direction. Wednesday was a challenge, right? She did something she's never done before. And at least with me, I know that just sounded really dirty, but it wasn't. And that being said, she pushed me, right? And it was a good thing, right? Because I got to see exactly where I'm at. And the same thing is true when you get home or away from your rehab team. You've got to push yourself, right? They set a goal. Just don't meet the goal. You got to blow past it, right? I realize that's a tricky thing to do some days. So one of my goals, and I can't really do a rehab event for this except for putting myself in that situation, is go to noisy places. The only way I'm going to determine is this a reality again for me at all is to go to places that are noisy. Right? Does that mean a restaurant? Possibly. Does that mean go to the mall? Yes. Does that mean we had a Scottish festival here in the city a week or two ago, so I went to that. And then this week we have some fun fest. Again, there'll be herds and hordes of people, so I'm going to go to it and hang out and just try to get my brain to explode because, it's the only way I'm going to test it. It's the only way you're going to test it. In fact, the only way you're going to know what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with is by doing things. And if you choose to stay on the couch or in your bed, right? Not because you have to, because there's an actual issue that requires you to stay in your bed or on your couch, but you're making a conscious effort. You're making a choice, right, to basically give up. If you're going to decide that, you know what, my life sucks, fuck me, I'm just going to stay in bed today, right? But today isn't every day, not like, you know what, I'm going to stay in bed for a while today because I'm not really feeling it, right? I've had those days, right? And those days suck. Right? But you can't make that day the everyday. They have to be the exception day, right? I've had days where it's like, you know what, dude, you overdid it. Put yourself in bed. Like, maybe 2-3 hours and you're right. Maybe 3-4 hours and you're right. Maybe it's, go to bed, wake up, and don't get out of bed till you're right. But once you're right, you get your ass out of bed, right? So, you're going to have those days. But if you're going to choose to stay in bed or on the couch, why are you even going to rehab? Right? You're not going to get anything out of it, and you're wasting those people's time. Right? Your physiotherapist, your speech and language path, and your occupational therapist, they're valuable people. But if you're not going to treat them with the value that they have, right, let someone else use them and their resources and their time. Someone else will get the value out of that experience and that relationship with them. So, and if you're in a situation where you are kind of bedridden, my heart goes out to you. I know what you're going through because I saw what my grandmother had to go through after her stroke, and she was pretty much bed and or wheelchair bound. She was not mobile without assistance. Although she could get that 1 foot and sort of propel herself a little bit. Yeah, but it wasn't much. So if you're not going to work at your own rehab, why bother? Right? If you're not willing to find what your limits and boundaries are, why bother? Right? If you're not looking for the next obstacle and then finding a way to overcome it, why bother? Right? For me, this is week 6. 6 weeks ago, yesterday, I had my stroke. Right? So statistically, I've made the largest recovery that I'm going to make up until this point. Right? This is the largest gain that I'm going to make. Right? Now, it's work. Right? So my body's going to do what it was going to do. Now, is that 6-week rule hard and fast? No, not necessarily. I could make more gains next week, in the next 8, 9, 10 days. But statistically, 42 days, 6 weeks, is the most effort your body's going to do on its own. Right? Now, between 6 weeks and 6 months, you got to nut up and ruck up, right, and be prepared to do work. This is where the assaulting begins. Right? Before, that was just prep for battle. That was just the body doing what it's going to do. Right? Now you got to prepare to commit to the assault. And that's what I'm preparing to do. Exactly what does that mean? I have no idea. Not a clue. Right? But I'm going to try to determine what that is, because next week I meet the stroke team. No, not a new bunch of Marvel superheroes or people to the DC universe, because that'd be kind of morbid, in a way. It all depends what their stroke team is about, right? The stroke team. Are they helping swimmers? Like they're there to help Michael Phelps? Are they there helping the row people? Stroke! Stroke! Right? Is it some kind of pornography assistance? Right, you got to get a better stroke in. You know, a better stroke. Right? Now, are they there to help Tiger Woods with his strokes? Right? Or are they there to help people that now have had a brain that tried to kill them? So next week I get to meet the stroke team and get their input. But anyways, I'm off. And remember, you've been watching this for 6 weeks, right? Now then, if you're still watching, you need to like, share, and subscribe with your friends. If you're still watching but haven't liked, shared, or subscribed with your friends, why? And if you're going to try to tell me that you're not enjoying any of my videos after 6 weeks, I'm just going to call shenanigans, right? Total shenanigans, because there's no way you've watched every single video over 6 weeks and not enjoyed at least half of one, right? And if you happen to see either in yourself or someone you happen to be around, the signs or symptoms of the stroke, that being a facial droop, right? That being slurred speech, stuttering, inappropriate words, word usage for situation or context, right? Arms, can't raise your arms, either equally or at all, right? Inability to stand unaided, weakness on one side or general body weakness. Please immediately place that person in a position of comfort and dial 911. Something so simple could save a life.